All right, guys, so today we're going to go over the NWX layout. This is kind of what we're trying to do here is give some additional value to you guys by showing you the shots that we look at and things like that. So I have not played this field yet. I'm only looking at it on Gunzup. So here we go, and we'll check it out. You can see we've got the layout here also with the bunker names on it. I was going to do that in Gunzup for you also, but that's kind of a pain, and it was like freezing up. So we'll start here in the back center. You can see you got pretty good shots, and let's see if I can figure out this tool. From the back center, kind of through this gap here, onto the gateway, it looks like. So no great shot on the God from the back center, but on the gateway, yes. And obviously just beyond the gateway there, if someone were to go, say, snake one off the break, potentially a cobra, or potentially the 3 there. So good shots there. Let's see. There's a way to look at your height. We're going to work through this and figure it out. We do also have pretty good shots here. It looks like that goes just to the left of the Denver and in the inside of our beast there. So it's going to land outside of the Dallas. So anybody going past the Dallas. So, you know, 2 good lanes you can get up. I would think you can get a couple guns through those gaps. There's also going to be good shots. Let's see. So that's pretty low on our height here. Let's see. E and X. Oh, that's fast. All right, so let's go about just over 5 feet. So if you were just over 5 feet tall, this is what you'd see. So again, good shots on the gap there for the gateway and beyond. Anything beyond the Dallas, I would think is shootable. You know, get that gun up nice and quick. I don't know if you guys saw, but in the last video, you definitely want to make sure you guys are timing that breakout so you get your barrel up as soon as possible. That's going to be a big, crucial difference in hitting these shots or not, is if you can get that barrel up right when the buzzer goes off. So these are our back center shots. You could, I would think that if you drop paint, you know, back over the center here, paint would drop if someone's up high into the back center also. So possible shots, maybe throw some late paint there just in case. So let's go look at the snake side of the field. And from here, you can see, don't really have a shot that's going to be good or quick enough on the God on this side of the field. Potentially, we're going to go up a little here. You can see there that if we lob paint, let's get back to our about 5 feet mark. I would think that unless someone dove, if someone went in running and shooting into that Dallas, you could potentially hit them. So this might be a bit, there's 2 things I would kind of do if I was looking at going to the God off the break. Would be potentially lob a few paintballs right at the edge of the Dallas, try to catch someone going there, and then also shooting heads up for like a gateway type player. Interesting here, you can just barely see the outside of the gateway. Can definitely see your mirror in battle with them there from this bunker. Let's see our gateway. Back center's got shots. Mirror's got shots. Might have to refresh the page. We'll see back center, obviously the shot through that gap for the snake also. So right now, if I had to make a choice, I'd probably double up the back center, 1 shooting each way to try to contain people. Get a guy out to this, out to the God here. Get my height up. Get a body to the God at least, right? Potentially take some more risks, but that's a relatively conservative breakout on that side. From the D side, let's look at the shots we got. You're going to have a similar scenario here of being able to kind of drop paint back over towards the God there. So, you know, if you're super short, maybe not the best shot because the paint's going to go up high. You need it to kind of hug real tight to that brick for it to drop in properly. One thing I see here is you can definitely, you know, let's see, we're right there on the start station. You could definitely, if you do the little, hard to show here, if you do the lean, you know, get your feet set, wrong way, and get your gun as far as you can to the start station so you kind of pull your body away. That way you can get your gun up right to the shot immediately. If you could do that here, it looks like you could potentially catch your mirror. Still relatively safe from the back center. Although, again, if they do drop paint, you're kind of in this crunch zone. So it is a shot. There's some risk you're going to take to do that, though. Risk reward, probably not super high, but it's a choice. So let's see, bust out here. I like this. One of the things I like here on this D side is if you do shut down, like stop them at the Dallas, it looks like it's a, you know, you have that back center move there. Let's see if I can get my cursor back here. You have this back center here right? So if I can get past this little gap, only a step out, free, I wouldn't say free move, but you can almost, get up this side of the field relatively quickly, especially if you guys can eliminate that first player. This side's almost a free walk. So, but I mean, there are good shots off the break. It looks like it's winnable from both sides of the field, just looking at it. You could also do this play here of going up the middle. Gets paint on the snake side. You can still see your mirror coming up in here. Lots of technical play on this field, I believe. I think we're going to see, let's see if we can get the right view here. So I think you're going to see some interesting things. I think you'll see we'll double up the back center. The snake is going to be a little bit harder because of these gaps. Like one thing you guys are going to see, I think I'm just kind of cruising through this because I do these videos. They should get better and better for you. But as we get in the snake here, this is tough. There's two things that are tough about this. Is one, here in the snake, there's lots of good shots on it. Like, it's definitely shootable getting over there. And then also, as you dive into this, if you do have a corner, it looks like, let's go look from the corner. If there's a corner, yeah, they can definitely just see the edge of that bunker. So if you were to overslide this and go around immediately, you can get shot by a corner. You can get shot by almost anybody in the snake here. It is inside just a hair, so you're a little bit protected, but it's going to be, this is not, you're not behind a beam here where it's super safe, so you got to get into this. The other thing you're going to have, let's see, you're at 5 feet now. The other thing you're going to have as you're in here is cross shots aren't terrible by any means. Is you have these gaps you got to get across. Not impossible, but it does open you up to the middle of the field, right? So now that big brick and even that mini W, not a huge gap there, right in here, but that does, person can put a little bit of paint in there, it looks like. We'll see what it looks like on the actual layout because that is pretty tight, but back center can shoot through the gap. Looks like the Dallas can get paint in that gap. This pin is well placed. I think Thomas Taylor made this, so he definitely made it so you can still make the moves, but there is some resistance there, right? So we get into this thing, and here's one of the things that I love and I hate is as you're in this snake, when you go around this, like, I guess that's kind of a tight thing there, but it's harder. One thing that happens is these W's push you out a little further. So now, instead of being, in close, more paint can kind of drop in. So you do have to be even lower and closer to the ground. Let's see if I can make this work. I'm not the best at this thing. But yeah, no, so paint's gonna, these guys are definitely gonna have a little bit more opportunity to just putting paint around it. It's gonna be super dick to the dirt to crawl around this thing. I was a little concerned because with these long gaps in the snake, sometimes if someone's more heads up like that gateway, they can drop paint in, but it's gonna be tough for this guy because, a W blocks it off. So, although it does look like this guy can potentially get paint around, so it's gonna be tough because if you get in too quickly, that paint can kind of drop in and hit you. If you stay out wider, the crossfield shots can get paint in on you. So, but I mean, still definitely not a bad snake by any means. And I mean, you can get all the way down to the end of it. The gap here is a little bigger, but I do like the fact here that this is tricky is, let's see, there we go, cursor. So, is that most of these guys are kind of blocked out from seeing you. Besides, obviously, this God player, a little bit of the gateway, but it's hard for the other players cross field to see, so you could sneak into this next thing, especially if you've shot the guy in front of you, the first and slash or secondary snake player. So, kind of cool. Let's go look at the D side a little bit, see what we can see there. See how far I can move this without get off the ground a little. But no, it's definitely good shots. And if you guys want to walk this, you guys can go in and definitely, we posted up the link in the Sunday Funday group, so it's kind of cool. And let's see, so D side. So let's go look at some moves here. This mini W isn't a bad bunker by any means. It does give you the opportunity to cut over, make some quicker bumps there, potentially play the middle part of the field, but I don't see it necessarily locking a whole lot. One thing that is kind of cool is this could be a good, defensive position if you're going to keep paint through this gap here. So from where we're at, you could definitely, shoot and maintain a lane through here, preventing people from getting out wider, although they can still get into these inner Doritos. It really stopped them only getting to the 50, it looks like. So not sure if there's a whole lot of, I guess, this outer mini Dorito, which will probably get some degree of play, but if it's me, I'm playing these inside ones where I can stay super safe from my mirrors, from the guys on the tape in front of me, and where I can get these opportunity to wrap and make the bumps. Now, it is a little tricky if you're playing this Dorito. I think you can kind of see the edge of that mini W. We'll see what it looks like on the real layout, but if you can't see the edge of that that mini W there, if you aren't able to see it, then you won't be able to put the guy in, right? So let's see. Yeah, so you definitely can see this guy, or you should be able to. Be surprised if you couldn't. So I mean, even there, that guy can get, that'd be the route I'd probably go, is get into this Dorito to now wrap, to put in that mini W if I was concerned about him. Could still check off, these other inner players, and make my bump and get up the field. So, one thing I want to go over with you guys too, while we're here, as I try to zoom around, is the contain game. So I saw this a lot last weekend. I feel like I see it every weekend. Is if we do, let's say, off the break, other team goes to the gateway off the break, and we shoot them. So we shoot through this gap, we stop the first gateway player, and we make it. Let's say we don't make it to the gateway. We stop short in the God. We have two back center players. We sent this mini W, the money, and then also Dallas. So really short conservative breakout, but we eliminate that first snake player. What I'm going to tell you guys is that first off is we do not, like, our advantage on this breakout is definitely on the snake side where we've created that hole, and we do not want this player to be able to fill back out. So as the God player, if I'm aware of this, what I should be doing is, even if my mirror is here, I'm going to tuck in just tight enough to where I can put paint in this gap here and still not be shot by my mirror. So I want to play super tight to just kind of keep paint here. I'm just going to bang, 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 keep paint in this gap, probably a little lower in case the guy dives. So that way I'm working on preventing this player, if they go to the God player from getting over. If they don't go God and we shoot their gateway, I'm going to be wrapping pretty hard. And it's, let's see, so this is about, I'm 6 foot tall, so this is about what I'd see, probably somewhere in here. Is then I'm going to be wrapping, and I'm actually going to keep paint. I wouldn't want to get too sloppy, but I would get right in here, and I would keep paint right on the edge of, in this area, because it's going to prevent anyone from filling out, potentially catch a God moving up, and I'm just playing a contained game. And realistically, as this God player, a lot of the time I think people think they're the first snake player just because they're in the front. This guy could now play the contained game, stop these guys, while our secondary snake player, can now get low and, either go over to the gateway, go up to the Seattle, and then potentially to the Cobra and forward, right? Like, this guy can now become our primary front snake player. The key is that the two of those players are working together to contain and stop that snake side. So if anyone does move in the open, you can get another elimination, and also you can capitalize on that advantage. So the contained game's huge. The similar thing on the D side is that we get that first elimination, and I'm in this, let's say on the D side we do that breakout I said, we go kind of short, and I'm in this, the money here. We get that first elimination. I know they're in the Dallas. Well, guess what? So let's look at this as a scenario here. What do I want to do in this scenario? Is I do not want to allow the Dallas player or their back center player, whoever's going to fill, to get out past the Dallas. So what I'm probably going to do is let's look at the field. We want to make sure we know the shot. So here, wouldn't stop it, right? If I go into this tower, I could definitely stop it. So this is probably where I'm going to be looking to make my move. I do want to be careful because of the, 50 wings, but I'd play in this real tight. You wouldn't necessarily have to battle with this guy at all. What you can do is roll back just a little bit. Again, being careful because there are those shots on the inside, so that now you can kind of keep paint right here on the ground. And so you don't have to, you don't have to machine gun shot this, but if you just keep a little bit of paint in there, like any player that's played a bunch is going to be seeing the paint, going by, and it's probably going to get stuck there. So now you're containing the side, you're stopping it. If they do decide to go or make a crazy move, you have paint in the gap. It's helpful. You can also, if you wanted to, if you got this guy in, you can keep paint obviously on the side of his bunker and whatnot. But, again, we want to look for opportunities to contain, because what are you doing here if you've eliminated that first player? you know, if you knew you eliminated the Dallas, now you could wrap and just kind of keep painting this gap, potentially looking to make your move, you know, watching for paint. So if you do make this move, same thing, you can come up, kind of shoot this gap here to contain. So you just always want to be playing that contain game. So hopefully that's a good tip for you guys. Let's see, middle of the field. I mean, the middle, I feel like it's going to be pretty vicious. Realistically here too is, you know, you can see this gap here. Let's see if it'll draw. Oh. So the gap here is, you know, you can run and shoot forward, keeping painting that gap. You're going to lose the shot though. If you don't, or if you unless you go a little wider, which is okay. You just want to be aware though is that if you're doing this and your mirror's doing that, you're going to want to be looking kind of in this area here, so that way you can abandon if you have to. So, and I definitely would not be surprised if you see people go up into this and start working their way right onto the other side of the field. So it'll be interesting watching some of the more aggressive teams. I don't necessarily have any major suggestions other than I would try to get 2 guns up, a gun each side. I will also talk to you guys about something else I'll talk to you guys about is setting up a strong. So the plays that you guys are going to run, a lot of us, like for Sunday Funday when I go play with the team I play with, we just kind of throw something together and play. We don't necessarily make these plays, but a lot of the teams you're going to play with, they're going to have a few different breakouts, one of which is going to be a heavy snake play, one's going to be a heavy Dorito side play. On this field, probably going to have a heavy center presence, a center play. We're going to send 2 bodies, one potentially looking each way, and then a more conservative breakout, maybe defensive where we know the cross up. So with that, I'll do a video on this to explain it a little better, but essentially like that's kind of where you're going to send potentially a farther snake guy, whether it be corner, snake 1, and a secondary body that's going to help be supportive or get there quickly. On that snake side push, opposite for D side where you do it for D side. But I would encourage you guys, if you guys are going to events, to map out at least those 4, 5, 6 plays so you have them in your back pocket. So if you see that there's a team that is, you know, is doing something specific, you could play that specific play. The other thing is too is that you know, same thing with the lanes, is figure out your lanes on this field of where, you know, I would definitely encourage you guys to let's see if I get this thing moving. I would definitely encourage you guys, you know, get a gun each way obviously because you want that, but like where's a second and potentially a third gun that you can get to shoot some of these shots? If you know they're going snake off the break or going corner, potentially even gateway, is that, I mean, there could be one guy that goes straight into this shooting, one guy that stalls shooting, and another guy that, you know, maybe it's even your God guy that takes a knee, and you get a third gun on that, so you can get an early elimination, because that early elimination can make all the difference in the world. So I don't necessarily see a whole lot of stuff on the D side where you can get, you know, you still could do the 2 guns kind of from the back center, a guy standing here shooting through this gap and whatnot, but you know, figure out what those are going to be so you have them on paper. So if you have a team that you play where they're going snake 1 on the break every game, you can put 3 guns on it. Like, you know, you're still going to want somebody looking, you know, D side, and potentially, like if I was doing that of putting 3 guns on snake side, still 1 on the D side, I'm probably going to have my Dallas guy or someone on the D side kind of keep eyes on the inside if they can, right? So running out shooting, first couple balls probably, you know, heads up, potentially into this little gap here, but just trying to keep eyes in the middle of the field so you don't get overpowered. So anyway, hopefully those are helpful tips for you guys. It's kind of a long one. I realize I haven't played this layout yet. It's just been walking it on Gunzup, so there you go. Hopefully it's helpful. See you.